Well, hello again and welcome back to another video. I'd like to thank everyone that commented on my video about the coming changes to the highway code in the UK, which has been introduced and was put into practice last week. I've seen one or two reports already of cyclists deciding that they feel that they can now ride in the middle of the road, which I don't think is probably very good practice, but that's up to them as road users and how they interpret these new rules. But it was lovely to get your comments, good, bad or indifferent, what you agreed with, what you didn't agree with. It was interesting, and I wanted to do a little follow-up. There was several people that commented, and that I've also read online. I've looked at a lot of these videos relating to all these highway code changes, and a lot of people have been commented that they think that cyclists should pay some kind of a road tax. I don't think, in actual fact, I don't think we call it road tax anymore. It's now vehicle excise duty or something like that. But it's interesting because for many years now, looking back, and for this video we'll call it road tax because it's easier to say than vehicle excise duty. First of all, that money that is raised by this road tax goes into the government coffers and doesn't necessarily get spent on road projects or road development or road improvements. It just goes into the government pot. I did go to the Department of Transport and ask this, and they say no, it just goes into a government funded pot where this money then gets spent. Some of it may get spent on road building and improvement projects, but not all of it. It's also interesting to note that cyclists have never paid any form of road tax, and I personally, don't think cyclists should pay a road tax because now, I was reading, and I didn't know this, but now if you have a 100% electric car, that is exempt from road tax as well. So, my electric e-bike is a lot lighter and does a lot less harm to any road surface, theoretically, and I'm just as much right on the road as that electric car, which is not paying any road tax or vehicle excise duty. And obviously, also, I did know that cars over 40 years old, so if you have a vintage, veteran or car that's over 40 years old, that is now exempt from any vehicle excise duty or what was used to be called road tax. So I don't see how, with those rules in place, I don't see how it's fair, to start wanting to charge cyclists a road tax. I do note, and I have sort of looked into this, some countries do put a tax on new bikes. We don't in Britain, but some countries do put a tax on new bikes, and then that goes, when you buy a bike, as a one-off tax payment which goes as some sort of road tax, which is fair enough. But there again, in my view, cycles are too expensive, and particularly e-bikes are way too expensive already, so I can't see that's going to encourage people to buy one if we put another £300, £400, £500 on and say that's your road tax. So personally, I don't see how that will work if you're not charging any road tax for brand new electric cars. How can you expect cyclists to pay? And after all said and done, my bike it does not put any emissions into the air, and if it's an ordinary push bike, then that's only the person that's propelling that along, so it would be totally unfair. I think insurance, it was also raised that cyclists should have insurance. Now, insurance is a different ball game altogether. I did used to take insurance out, when I commuted regularly on my bike, and particularly went on one road that was very busy, I thought that was beneficial at that time. I never needed it or never had to, use it, but it was there in case I did certain damage to vehicles or something happened, and the onus was put on me. Because I think under these new rules, obviously it is going to be difficult if a cyclist does do harm to a pedestrian or another cyclist, even say, then the onus is going to be on that person. And if that person hasn't got insurance, well then, how do you fight that one on? So yes, there is a good argument, I think. But on the other hand, a lot of lower paid people rely on cycles to get from work, to get to shops, to go about their daily life, and probably not earning a lot of money. So then if you go and say that's going to cost you another 10, 12, 15 pounds a month to insure your cycle, I don't think, sadly, people aren't going to do it, and it's probably another way of putting people off cycles, sadly. But I can see the argument. I do in some ways agree with that because I used to have insurance, but it would be interesting to get your thoughts on this. It'll be interesting to see how those highway code changes come in and affect everybody, including right from the HGV drivers who've got the most onus because they've got the biggest vehicles in this hierarchy of road users. I still don't think it's going to benefit anybody. I think what is needed on the roads is we've all got to come together and try and live compatibly along the roads together and make the best of it. And that goes for cyclists very much as well, as I say, because there's an awful lot of cyclists that don't abide by the highway code that I've seen. But thank you. It was lovely to get your comments. It certainly stirred up some, interest amongst people, which is what I was after. And that's, what a good debate is about. And, we don't all agree about these things all the time. I have just thought I'd do this little update. I've just been cleaning my bike and checking my tyres, and for this month, I always usually do it in the beginning of the month, and so I just thought I'd post this little update, and thank you to everybody, and I'll see you in a future video, and until then, thanks again. Please do think about subscribing. It's totally up to you, but it does help us smaller channels, it really does, and great to get your likes and wonderful to get your comments, and I do try in time and answer them all. So thank you again to everybody, and I'll see you in a future video. Until that point in time, bye for now.